Hey everyone, I'm Nikki, and today I'm participating in another mystery box challenge called Swap It Bop It, and it's hosted by Clari at Clari's Part 2 Creations. There's a bunch of us this time around, so be sure to have your drink and your popcorn ready and relax to see what we all created. I got my box from Cindy at Z9 Designs. I sent my box over to Yetta at Craft Along with Jay. So let's jump right in and see what Cindy sent. All the stuff is all wrapped up. I have my box open, but I haven't seen exactly what she sent. So let's jump right in. She's got it all packaged up rather nicely. Look at these tags. Clari made these. Aren't they cute? So the first challenge item is spring or summer flowers. I have my paper over here so I remember exactly what the items are. So let's see. Oh, these are pretty. I love purple. It's my favorite color. I don't know if Cindy knows that, but if she doesn't, she knows now. All right, and then item 2, and that is a garden tool. Could be a child garden tool or any type, let's say. Oh, cute. Look at this. It's cute. It has a little wooden handle. I like that. And then challenge item number 3. And that is yarn or twine. Ooh, that's a pretty color green. Perfect for spring. Actually perfect for any time of the year. All right, and then challenge item number 4. And that's supposed to be a water bottle or something similar to a bottle. And ooh, this one's kind of cool. It has like, I can't take it off, like a cap on top, like a spray paint bottle does. That's a pretty cool bottle. And then challenge item number 5 is Crafter's Choice. But look, isn't that cute? Little pineapple tray. So that is my Crafter's Choice. Oh, she just sent me a few gifts. She sent me this pretty stencil, and it looks like some pressed flowers. Okay. And then let's see, she sent me a little envelope at the bottom. Oh, and some tea. I love tea. I actually have the peppermint, but I don't have the peach and passion fruit. Thank you. I love tea. I drink tea every single day. But the note says, "Hi, Nikki. I hope you have fun making what I've sent. I know you will make something amazing. Here is some honey and tea for your enjoyment. Lovingly, Cindy." She is so sweet. Yeah, there's a little bag here that has tea in it. I think that's just the greatest. And she sent me some peppermints. So let's jump right in and make some beautiful projects. Thanks, Cindy. I'm starting off with a water bottle, and first I removed the cap and peeled off the label. I actually thought the cap was just going to pull right off, but nope, it's a screw-on cap. So once I got everything apart, this is what I was left with. And next I grabbed this piece of resin that I already cast. This is the Contours of Grace mold by Redesign, and I'm painting it in the color Bellwood by Fusion, and I'm doing both the front and the back and just giving it 2 coats. And this has both a primer and a sealer, and so it just grips right on real good, and I really don't have to do anything else to it. For the lid, I'm painting it the color Ash by Fusion, and this paint is definitely on the older side and has gotten pretty thick. So I figured I better start using it up rather than letting it go to waste. These smaller bottles seem to dry up rather quickly, and I get these ones in my Sonnets Makers box, and I also get one in my Rehatched Designs box. Then I grabbed this clear glue from the Dollar Tree along with these beautiful dried flowers Cindy sent me, and I brush on a layer of the glue right onto the bottle, placed the flower on top into that wet glue, then I brushed another coat of glue on top. So I basically using the glue as almost like a decoupage medium, and I'm just repeating that process and placing the flowers all around the bottle. And please excuse any background noise. If you happen to hear it, my neighbor's having trees cut down today. So there's a little extra chaos outside. And if you hear snoring in the background, that would be my yellow lab Miley sleeping right beside me. She somehow manages to sound like a tiny pig when she sleeps. And I swear sometimes I can hear her in my videos too. Let me see if I can get the microphone close enough to her so you can hear without waking her up.
Mm-hmm. 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 Mm-hmm.
I was curious. Jeez, Miley. I was curious if dogs could have sleep apnea since she's overweight and snores, and apparently they can. Labs tend to struggle with weight and are kind of known for being chunky. So it honestly made me wonder. All right, back to the video. I'm taking the stencil that Cindy sent me along with some texture paste, and I'm going to go over the cap with it, just adding little flowers here and there. At this point, I wasn't entirely sure where I was going with this. I mean, I had an idea, but I was also kind of creating on a whim and seeing where it was going to take me. Then I took my drill and made a hole in the cap, and I did have to take different drill bits to get it up to the size that I needed. And this is a top of a solar light that I took apart. You can actually see it off to the side, that pretty crackled glass orb. It's really beautiful, but I already know that I can save that and use it for another project. And once I know it's going to fit, I take my Loctite glue and go all around the rim of the solar light, and then I'm going to push it down into place really well. I was also trying to get these pieces to blend together and look more seamless. So I took that stencil back out and just tried to match up the flowers so it would look like one cohesive piece. Then I took these tiny beads, painted them black, and then glued them all around where the two pieces meet. I was trying so hard to make that transition blend together. In hindsight, if I had to redo this project, I probably would have done a lot of things differently. I think I would have used clay and built up that area where the two pieces meet to help blend everything together, and then sealed it really well so it would hold up outside and not break down in the weather. But I didn't, and so this is what we got. So I go around with my Loctite glue and then take my accelerator and just spray that on. That way it just dries instantly. I got my drill bit back out and I'm drilling holes down the bottom here, and then I take my hot knife and then just make a bigger hole in kind of the shape of a triangle is what it ends up being. And so I'm not sure if you know what I'm making by now. It's going to be a bird feeder. And then I take more of that Loctite glue and some hot glue and then glue it down onto my plate. I didn't bother showing you adding that transfer because I end up painting over it. So I didn't want to take you on that ride, and it was just an unnecessary step. I wanted my flowers to blend in more, so I take this, I think it's called Purple Moon. It's a Luxe Metallic by Paint Couture, and I'm going to go over all my flowers with this and then wipe some of it back with this damp microfiber rag and just try and let that white peek through a little bit just to soften it. And now you can see here where I painted it black, then took some gold rub and buff and went over the sides of the plate. I added some around the top and on the handle. And then I added my bird food. I was actually hoping I'd catch a little bird sitting on it because I had it hanging right outside my craft room window, but unfortunately, I wasn't able to. That was just a temporary spot anyway because I didn't want to seal this one in. I was honestly afraid I'd use something that could potentially make a bird sick. So I decided to hang it out on my porch instead where it could stay covered and be protected from the elements. But this is how it looks. I think it came out super cute, even though I struggled with the transition of those two pieces. But what do you think of my little bird feeder? And this is what it looks like at night. The solar light really wasn't for the birds. That part was more for me. I just love the idea of it glowing at night and adding a little extra charm. I'm just popping this in here so you can see all the wonderful creators joining in on this collaboration. So definitely be sure to go check them out. All right, on to our next project. This is my crafter's choice that Cindy sent me. And looking at this little pineapple, I was honestly a little intimidated because it's not something I would ever pick up to craft with. And I started by giving it one coat of the color Ivory by Waverly. And then I grabbed some black chalk paint and started painting in the little triangles. I wasn't really following a pattern. I just started filling in every other one and kind of went with it. And I'll be honest, when I first looked at this piece, I didn't immediately see a ton of potential. I mean, there's only so many things you can really do with a little trinket tray. So I'm apologizing in advance if this project really isn't your thing. Then I took Rich Gold by Paint Couture, which is one of their Luxe Metallics, and painted all around the edges of all those triangles to add a little more definition and detail. And once that dried, I sealed everything in off camera with some Extreme Guard. That's also by Paint Couture, and let that dry. And then I went over the entire piece with some amber honey glaze, and this just aged it up a little bit. I brushed it on, wiped it back, and repeated that same thing on the back. All right, bear with me on this next challenge item. I started with 8 pieces of yarn, tied them together at the top, and then taped everything down to my table to keep everything from moving around. Then I gathered the center strands together and worked with the 2 outside pieces. Taking the left strand, I made kind of a number 4 shape by laying it over the center strands. Then I took the right strand, brought it over that tail of the number 4, and then brought it underneath the strands and back up through that opening of the 4. Then I pulled both sides tight and repeated that knot over and over. I'm definitely not a macrame expert, but I just kept going until I liked the length and how it looked. Then I removed the tape, flipped the loop, flipped it over to make a loop. Then I took another piece of that yarn, and you can see I folded it over itself, leaving the excess up at the top, and then began wrapping it around. And now we'll have a little tiny hanger there. And then when I get to the bottom, there's a little loop there, and I'm going to take that, put it into that loop, and just pull it, and then hold it and pull on that top thread, and that's going to bring our thread through. We don't want to pull it all the way through, but we want it to be nice and secure under where we tied it around. Then we're just going to trim off the excess. I am so sorry if I'm not explaining this good. This is difficult. I could never do a macrame tutorial, I know that. Then I taped it back down to my table, and using the 8 strands, I separated them into groups of 2. So I had 4 sections total. I tied each section into a knot, trying to keep them all around the same length. Then I took the neighboring sections and joined them together. I wasn't really making knots here, I was just looping them together. I took the 2 outer sections and looped those together. Then I took the other 2 center ones and did the same thing. And a couple inches down, I tied everything off into a knot. It's really more of a sling hanger because I felt like a full macrame hanger would have been a little too bulky and probably wouldn't have fit this piece right. I don't know, it's just what I thought. And then I added a little succulent because I really wanted to use an air plant and I didn't have one on hand. But if plants really aren't your thing, this could also make a really cute jewelry tray to sit on your nightstand. All right, on to our gardening tool. I'm going to start by separating the top from the handle, and it had just a little screw in it, popped out so easily. And we're going to start by scruffing up this metal so that way it takes paint really well. And I'm going to paint this in the color Bellwood by Fusion. And this needed 3 coats total. I am gushing over this color. I have been using it so much since it came in my box. This is one that I'm definitely going to buy in a larger size. And then I'm going to paint it the color ivory. I'm not looking for full coverage here. I'm just going to go over the whole handle and paint it just one coat. And I wanted to add this pretty floral design to the handle. And this is my Consonor's library stamp from the new 2026 release. And I'm using some Stone Gray ink by IOD. And using these stamps, you really want to make sure you keep one hand on the stamp at all times. And I added this sweet little butterfly into the corner of my little rake here. I sealed everything in with some Extreme Guard satin. And this is going to make sure our ink and our transfers are nice and secure before going in with some Crackle Step 1 by Pentart, just giving it one coat. And I'm going to speed up the drying process with my embossing gun. And once that's dry, I'm using my Crackle Step 2, and I'm not going to overwork this. I'm going to apply a thin layer. You really don't want to go too heavy on this one because it's quite runny. And so less is more with this. And then let that dry completely. And I have this Aged Cafe Perfect Pigments, and a little goes a long way with this one. You want to just add a little bit to your brush and then going in a circular motion with a small brush, just kind of tap, 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 and go in a circular motion, as I said, and just work that powder right into that beautiful crackle. You can already see those cracks showing. And I'm going to go over the handle too. And for the florals that Cindy sent me, I trimmed some back and gathered them up, tied them off with this really tiny twine that I get on Etsy. I just love this stuff. I'm taking this fabric ribbon that I also got on Etsy, and I'm going to tear it apart so I have two thin pieces, and I'm going to glue down my little bundle here and then tie it off into a knot. And that is it for this one. I think it came out super cute. I have it styled next to this old book, and I think it would look lovely in a vignette or on a tier tray. Let me know what you think. And as always, I'm going to give you a quick recap of everything that we made today. Now, if you're liking what you're seeing, go ahead and hit that like button. Leave me a comment down below. I always love hearing from you guys. And you know what to do. Hype me up if you loved it. And subscribe and turn on those notifications if you don't want to miss another video from me. Thank you for spending time with me today. Until the next one, bye.